Hare Krishna. Today we will see this book reading from Krishna book reading, the 24th chapter. Last we saw the Mother Yashoda by Krishna, the 9th chapter, and today we will see the worshipping Govardhan Hill. And since this is a lockdown time also, I thought this will be apt for the storytelling. Let's start with a small introduction. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshama. Krishna, 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 Pahi Mam. Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna, Keshava, Krishna, Keshava, Krishna, Keshava, Pahi Mam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, we'll start with reading the chapter. While engaged with the Brahmanas who were too much involved in the performance of Vedic sacrifices, Krishna and Balrama also saw that the coward men were preparing a similar sacrifice in order to pacify Indra, the king of heaven, who is responsible for supplying water. As stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, a devotee of Krishna has strong and firm faith in the understanding that if he is simply engaged in Krishna consciousness and Krishna's transcendental loving service, then he is freed from all other obligations. A pure devotee of Lord Krishna doesn't have to perform any of the ritualistic functions enjoined in the Vedas, nor he is required to worship any demigods. Being a devotee of Lord Krishna, one is understood to have performed all kinds of Vedic rituals and all kinds of worship to the demigods. One does not develop devotional service for Krishna by performing the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or worshipping the demigods, but it should be understood that one who is fully engaged in the service of the Lord has already fulfilled all the Vedic injunctions. In order to stop all such activities by his devotees, Krishna wanted to firmly establish exclusive devotional service during his presence in Vrindavana. Because he is the omniscient personality of Godhead, Krishna knew that the coward men were preparing for Indra's sacrifice, but as a matter of etiquette, he began to inquire with great honor and submission from elder personalities like Maharaj Nanda. Krishna asked his father, "My dear father, what is this arrangement going on for a great sacrifice? What is the result of such a sacrifice? And for whom it is meant? How it is performed? Will you kindly let me know?" "I am very eager to know this procedure, so please explain to me the purpose of this sacrifice." Upon this enquiry, his father Nanda Maharaj remained silent, thinking that his young boy would not be able to understand the intricacies of performing the yajna. Krishna, however, persisted. "My dear father, for those who are liberal and saintly, there is no secrecy. They do not think anyone to be a friend, an enemy, or a neutral party because they are always open to everyone. And even for those who are not so liberal, nothing should be kept secret from the family members and friends, although secrecy may be maintained for persons who are inimical. Therefore, you cannot keep any secrets from me. All persons are engaged in fruitive activities. Some know what these activities are and they know the result, and some execute activities without knowing the purpose of the result. The person who acts with full knowledge gets the full result. One who acts without knowledge does not get such a perfect result. Therefore, please let me know the purpose of the sacrifice you are going to perform. Is it according to the Vedic injunction, or is it simply a popular ceremony? Kindly let me know in detail about the sacrifice." On hearing this inquiry from Krishna, Maharaj Nanda replied, My dear boy, this ceremonial performance is more or less traditional because rainfall is due to the mercy of King Indra and clouds are his representatives. And because water is so important for our living, we must show some gratitude to the controller of this rainfall, Maharaj Indra. We are arranging therefore to pacify King Indra because he has very kindly sent us clouds to pour down a sufficient quantity of rain for successful agricultural activities. Water is very important. Without rainfall, we cannot farm or produce grain, and without grain, we cannot live. Therefore, rain is necessary for successful religious ceremonies, economic development, and ultimately liberation. So, we should not give up this traditional ceremonial function. If one gives it up, being influenced by lust, greed, or fear, then it does not look very good for him. After hearing this, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the presence of his father and all the elder covered men of Vrindavan, spoke in such a way to make the heavenly king Indra very angry. He suggested that they forgo the sacrifice. His reasons for discouraging the sacrifice performed to please Indra were twofold. First, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no need to worship the demigods for any material advancement. All results derived from worshipping the demigods are simply temporary, and only those who are less intelligent are interested in temporary results. Second, whatever temporary result one derives from worshipping the demigods is actually granted by the permission of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayyeva Vihitan Hitan. Whatever benefit is supposed to be derived from the demigods is actually bestowed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without the permission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot bestow any benefit upon others. But sometimes the demigods become puffed up by the influence of material nature, thinking themselves all in all. They forget the supremacy of the Personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated that in this instance, Krishna wanted to make the king Indra angry. Krishna's advent was especially meant for the annihilation of the demons and protection of the devotees. King Indra was certainly a devotee, not a demon, but because he was puffed up, Krishna wanted to teach him a lesson. He made Indra angry by stopping the Indra Puja, which had been arranged by the coward men in Vrindavana. With this purpose in mind, Krishna began to talk as if he were an atheist supporting the philosophy of Karma Mimamsa. Advocates of the philosophy do not accept the supreme authority of the Personality of Godhead. They put forward the argument that if anyone works nicely, the result is sure to come. Their opinion is that even if there is God who gives man the result of his fruitive activities, there is no need to worship him because unless man works, he cannot bestow any good result. They say that instead of worshipping a demigod or God, people should give attention to their own duties and thus good result will surely come. Lord Krishna began to speak to his father according to these principles of the Karma Mimamsa philosophy. My dear father, he said, I don't think you need to worship any demigod for the successful performance of your agricultural activities. Every living being is born according to his past karma and leaves this life simply by taking the result of his present karma. Everyone is born in different types or species of life according to his past activities, and he gets his birth according to the activities of his life. Different grades of material happiness and distress, comforts and disadvantages of life are different results of different kinds of activities from either the present or past life. Maharaj Nanda and other elder members argued that without satisfying the predominating God, one cannot derive any good results simply by material activities. This is actually the fact. For example, it is sometimes found that in spite of the first class medical help and treatment by a first class physician, a deceased person dies. It is concluded, therefore, that first class medical treatment or the attempts of a first class physician are not in themselves a cause for curing the patient. There must be the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, a father and mother's taking care of the children is not the cause of the children's comfort. Sometimes it is found that in spite of all the care by the parents, the children go bad or succumb to death. Therefore, material causes are not sufficient for results. There must be the sanction of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Nanda Maharaj therefore advocated that in order to get good results for agricultural activities, they must satisfy Indra, the superintendent deity of the rain supply. Jai Shri Krishna. Lord Krishna nullified this argument, saying that the demigods give results only to persons who have executed their prescribed duties. The demigods cannot give any good result to persons who has not executed the prescribed duties. Therefore, demigods are dependent on the execution of duties and are not absolute in awarding good results to anyone. So, why should one care about them? My dear father, Lord Krishna said, there is no need to worship the demigod Indra. Everyone has to achieve the result of his own work. we can actually see that one becomes busy according to the natural tendency of his work. And according to that natural tendency, all living entities, whether human beings or demigods, achieve their respective results. All living entities achieve higher or lower bodies and create enemies, friends, or neutral parties only because of their different kinds of work. One should be careful to discharge duties according to his natural instinct and not divert attention to the worship of various demigods. The demigods will be satisfied with proper execution of all duties, so there is no need to worship him. Let us rather perform our prescribed duties very nicely. Actually, one cannot be happy without executing his proper prescribed duty. One who does not therefore properly discharge his prescribed duties compared to an unchaste wife. The proper prescribed duty of the Brahmana is the study of the Vedas. The proper duty of the royal order, the Kshatriyas, is engagement in protecting the citizens. The proper duty of the Vaishya community is agriculture, trade, and protection of the cows. And proper duty of the Shudras is service to the higher classes, namely the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. We belong to the Vaishya community, and our proper duty is to farm, trade, agriculture, produce, and protect cows or take to the banking. We are finished with